how to work with hypotonia, specifically Glutaric. I'm mixing up the two right now. Glutaric, Aciduria. I'm hoping GA1. Okay, but you've got a lot of things going on. First of all, you have a traumatic brain injury, also the RSV. So, and I don't know, again, hospitalization. So he's got a lot of similarities of my son. My son's got hit with his infection and stuff when he was 13 months. So the first things first, a little bit more advanced, but we have to get the hospitalizations and the infections out of the system, right? But also too, I don't know if he had a PICC line with all of that or whatever, but there's also a brachial injury torticollis because he wants to go here. And that's going to take the neutrality out of the movement and present more on low tone. Hypotonia is a symptom. It's not a diagnosis, but my son's hypotonic. And so what we need to do first, but the chest way too wide in here. There's not one milestone that's going to happen just on the structure of movement that's going in here. So there's, like I said, there's a couple of things going on. I know we want milestones. We need a better foundation, right? So the first thing I want you to do absolutely is my breathing course. And you're going to say he breathes fine. He didn't at times, especially with the RSV. When the human body negotiates breath, that's what its priority is going to be, and we've got to make sure that the chest is expanding. So the fact that he's still here with the curvature going on, he doesn't have a good respiratory. That doesn't mean he's not at 98. I'm talking about functional breath. So if I go like this, I should be able to breathe. When I go like this, I should be able, and so all my foundations. So if you see an adult too that has respiratory issues, you know what I mean? Like they're not running a business. They shut down. And same thing too, if he goes to roll a certain way and his breath stops for whatever reason, even if it's just to catch his breath, right? The milestone will stop. Anybody will protect the breath over anything else, including feeding, swallowing, and all of that. So it has the thing of low tone. Also too, just notice too, like, you know, again, this is where I like a lot of videos, but I see a lot more of the mouth open. So if he's a mouth breather, that's going to also make him low tone or have respiratory issues. So what does that mean? Close your mouth and breathe. Well, you should feel your soft palate, your top of your mouth, regulate with this breath. It's not a big pull, but you'll feel the sensation of the pull. That gives the strength and the volume that's needed for stamina, power, all of those kind of things and below. Right? And so if they're mouth breathers, and you can do this now too, open your mouth and breathe. You don't get that palate response. Well, you're not going to get that, you know, I get it. People go, oh, but I use muscles, you know, kind of thing. That's not how we breathe, especially when we go to sleep. So if he is more of a mouth opener, which again was my son's issue, right? It's going to give the appearance of being more low tone because the respiratory functions aren't there. So hands it down, you'll see also by the newborn movement assessment where I'm talking about where his rotational responses are off. And that's really what we need to work on. So from the breathing course, I want you to add a little bit to it of a crossing midline. So when you're working on the respiratory stuff, right, just don't think twice about having that crossing midline involved, Because again, he doesn't have it well defined in the system. And so you're looking for muscles to cross midline, and that's not going to happen. You really need to be in the fast start program, but from there, again, I'm not here to overwhelm you. The breathing course is free. The newborn movement assessment is free. I know he's not a newborn, but you need to understand what movements you're making, because if you don't have rotational responses, you're weak. You just are. And so that's what we need to start stimulating in his body. But really here, please don't, when I say torticollis and stuff, don't do the stretches. This system can't handle it. But here again, with that, like I said, doing that breathing course, and I want you to just concentrate by adding in just a little bit of movement in midline crossing. Because again, he needs to be able to come look and come back versus where his eyes are getting a bit more sophisticated than his body and doing all of this. Try not to prop him, but offer him the opportunity. And I want feedback in 2 weeks how this is going, because I then want to up your program. You need to get comfortable. You need to get off the floor. You need to start working with him in these ways. But this has to be done first. We need to balance the brain out from the traumatic brain injury. Death occurs in the brain. I have plenty of videos on this. Death occurs in the brain, and so that'll make one area heavy, and that's where you get that shakiness, because he's actually trying to lift the damaged tissue in the brain. Because once the part of the brain dies, and in spinal fluid is the only place where you can have death of the body. Like if my appendix dies, you better take it out. But that wants to sink or succumb to gravity, and that's his next step, where he's having problems with these movements. We need to really start coordinating his head with his chest movements to work past that RSV and that TBI. Then we can start working on his milestones. But I want to see where you get within 2 weeks. I'd like 2 hours a day. That means change a diaper, do 10 minutes. Give a bath, do 10 minutes. You're sitting there watching TV, you know what I mean? Throw it in. It doesn't have to be, oh, I need to sit down and do therapy. But we need to get aggressive with those transitional skills. If he has transition and weight transfer, guys, he's a lot stronger. But if you think muscle's going to pull him off the floor, that's where you get into trouble. Thanks.